Good evening, good evening. This is Spirit Journey. Today is May 11th, 2015, and it is 10:32 p.m. I feel led to do this video because of an email that I got earlier today. No, it was yesterday, and I responded today to the email. This email was um, about an Iboga provider. Um, about it could have been even 2 years ago. I learned about the um, plant medicine called Iboga, and this is a plant medicine that is known for correcting. It's like resets your mind and your system, your biological system, if you have things like post-traumatic stress disorder, addictions of um, any kind, in particular, like if you are an alcoholic or you take cocaine, things like that. Well, it also has a psycho-spiritual component to it, too. And so about 2 years ago, I found out about it, and I did email them, and I decided not to at that time. I was afraid. And then some months later, when you get on someone's email list, and if they're doing promotions, whatever, and you're on the mailing list, you automatically get one too. So I had like a total of 2 emails from them so far. But the most recent one was just yesterday. And I was like kind of intrigued by it because I was thinking about them, and I was thinking about them to possibly reconsider. Okay? And well, why I'm sharing this is because I feel that I want to be fully have full disclosure, because this is my spirit journey that I'm sharing with you guys. And rather than being embarrassed about wanting to do something like this, or used to want to do something, utilize this, and not, just be upfront with my viewers and tell them, because someone else might be going through the same thing. And part of this journey is about, when you get information, you share it. And I share in order to empower others, because I know I want to be empowered, and I would like people to share information with me that they think, if they think it is good for me, and we have to protect one another. So that's why I'm sharing the information. I'm just going to wing it. I didn't write anything down, but I'll do the best to explain what happened. I get the email from an individual. I'm not going to give any names, of individuals or places, but they're an Iboga provider in Costa Rica, where I knew them from. When I first contacted them, I got a response from the wife of the person who provides the Iboga. And, they have a website and everything. And, you know, so this time, well, when I got the email, I didn't recognize the person's name. It was uh, uh, some other gentleman, some other guy, um, and that they were going to have an Iboga ceremony in the country of Gabon. That's in West Africa. And they indicating some of the things that would be included in the package deal. And it said, if you're interested or want more information, click here. So I did. I clicked there. I left um, I left a message asking how much it would cost and, about my being a vegan. So I get the response email today, which I read. And he said, it would be a good idea, it would be a good idea if you call me so I can go more in detail about it. He left his telephone number. Wait a minute. I hope I didn't misspoken. I meant, if I did, I meant to say that, in his today's email, the individual left his telephone number and suggested that I call him so that he could speak more in detail about my dietary needs. And so I did. I spoke with him for over an hour. And I did record the conversation because I find that, my memory at times, for details is not as sharp as it used to. And some of the information was, like, as we started talking, just like questions started coming in my mind that didn't seem to make sense. So and at that point, I put on my recorder so so I can really understand, what he's talking about. If I need to play it back later, so I can really make an assessment whether I should go or not. That's what my motive was. And so, just something started telling me there's something up to this. Like, okay, like I told him, and I mean, I asked him about, I said, well, I'm a little confused. I said, well, in the past I did get an email from him, but it was his wife, and I'm surprised that you're calling because his wife was, of the business. She handled the business affairs. The husband did all the shamanic work, and the wife handled the business. And so I didn't know who this individual was. And he wasn't clear about, whether the wife and them are still together or not. And, one question led to another question, and it just didn't make sense, who this individual was. What capacity? He said, well, he said that he was trained by him, so he also can provide the Ibogaine. And I said, well, going to West Africa is a distance from New York, and it would take a long time and be more expensive than in Costa Rica. He said, that's very true. So I said, well, when will he be back from Gabon and resume his business in Costa Rica? Well, that was a hot question, and I'm glad I asked that, because he wasn't going to supply me. I don't think he was going to supply me that information if I didn't ask. He claimed that in Costa Rica they're doing a crackdown on the Ibogaine providers there. That even though Ibogaine is not illegal in Costa Rica, but it's not regulated either. And the country, um, Costa Rica, wants to now set regulations for it. So, but I'm thinking, okay, there's nothing wrong with now wanting to set up regulations, but why would you have to? Well, his business shut down. It said, and then he said, the person that I'm talking to over the phone also says um, that the other businesses are closed too. Because I asked him specifically, I said, well, um, is it just his business or something that he did, or is all the different businesses that provide ibogaine there? And his response was that all of them. So I said, why? I didn't know this. So, oh, what was that I asked him now? So he has his business there in Gabon. Then he talked about. Then I asked him about, a little bit about the ceremonies and things like that, and he was responding, and the food there um, might be problematic for me because they just give like chicken. Um, it didn't sound like a real, like a menu or anything. He mentioned two things. I know he said chicken and something else. Um, but the amount of money, it's $6,000, that at least the email that he sent me. I think $6,000 for that country or any country is a lot of money. It's a 2-week initiation into the B2E, as they call it, initiation, um, ceremony. And what else? That the premises is not really, I forget the word that he used, but it's some type of wooden board that the houses are made out of. And there are 3 locations. He said the location that the provider is now building, his mother's community, and his uncle's community. The last ceremony that the person who's talking to me, he had gone over there once or twice. And when he went, he stayed at the uncle's um, community. And so I'm thinking, okay, why doesn't he have his facility together if you're now recruiting or soliciting people on your mailing list to attend? Wouldn't you have your stuff together before you start sending emails for people to go to um, your place, and you're going to have to shell at $6,000? Wouldn't you have that together? And there was no syllabus of what's going to be done, or where the location was going to be at, whether it's going to be, because there's 3 locations. And I've never been to West Africa. I've been to North Africa, but I've never been to West Africa. And again, I'm a female, and I wouldn't want to just go to a place and not really knowing what's going to happen when, what food will be available, the living conditions. Do they have running water? He did say it is a primitive environment, and that when you're there, there's nothing to do. So it didn't sound like there was something really planned out. Once you're there, you're not going to be under the influence for 24/7. You're going to have free time too. So that, I thought that was kind of problematic. And then I was asking more questions. Well, how come? I said, well, I don't understand why he, why he's not there in, I mean, even though the Costa Rica is saying, they want to regulate, but it was something else. Um, I said, well, how come, I said to the person who's calling me, how come you're not there with him if you work for him? How come you're in the States? He's calling me from Florida. And I said, well, what capacity are you? And he says, well, I'm here with my family, and it's easier to live here. And I said, well, the ceremony that you sent the email to me for, um, it's in July. So when July comes, you're going to fly over there, since you're an employee there? He says, no, I don't have to go. I said, well, I don't understand, what capacity are you there? So, it was kind of, I don't know. He said, well, um, he said it'll be expensive for the person that does that provides the Iboga to call, because he's in Africa, and it'll be very expensive. So I think, well, if he has the business, I asked him, I said, you can get a 1-800 number. People have international businesses, and, I said, and I'm sure most of his clients are from the West and not from Africa. He said, well, that is correct. So I said, okay, if he's having a business, he had a business in Costa Rica, why wouldn't he have a number that he could be reached at in Africa, and just get those 1-800 numbers for international calls? It didn't make sense to me. And then I asked him again about his capacity there, and it's just weird. I just figure, if you're an employee there, you're an employee. You'd be working there. So what I did, after the phone conversation, and he was very pleasant, but after the conversation, I started looking further on the internet about this Iboga provider. And like when you type in the name of the company that I thought he was, some other, yeah, that's right. I typed, like, I got the email, and that's right, I typed in the name of the business, but when I typed in the name of the business and pressed the return key, some other business came up, but the guy's face, the Iboga provider, was on that website. Some real high-end looking place in Costa Rica. And then that's when I called him. The number, the telephone number that I was provided for. So I didn't tell him, maybe I did. I might have made some mention about it, but what happened? Okay, he said, well, his company merged with another company. I said, oh, okay. But as I started looking further, after I got off the phone with him and just started investigating further about the company, I mean, that other, that website is still on. So why would they have a website that's still open of the new company if there's no longer any business there? Because, you can't practice there now because the government closed it down, And the guy that provides the Iboga is not in Costa Rica, but in Africa, because his face as a provider for them, the new company that merged, he's still on it. Okay? And so that, I think it's problematic. If you're going to have something, it's not a valid site anymore if you're not there anymore, because the person that called me said that he's going to be there for the rest of the year. So I took that as he's not coming back, So, I would have liked him to be, the caller, to be more straightforward, say, hey, look, he's not coming back. Um, if it's a matter of regulate, why couldn't he stay there long enough and work with it, do the paperwork for it to be regulated? That's another question I have. And what happened to the wife? Because on the new business, the wife is not on it. And because at least around 2 years ago, the wife also opened up an Ibogaine facility in addition to the husband's Ibogaine thing. So I don't know what's going on. This, you know, instability. And what was the other thing? So I was trying to dig further and find out, like I think I Googled Ibogaine regulations in Costa Rica, and I found that there was a news report on the place in Costa Rica that had sent me an email, and guess what? It had a fatality. So this woman from Germany, what was that? I forget, someplace in Europe. It could have been Germany or some Germanic country in Europe. And she died of a heart attack. She was 42 years old, and this was just last year. The news article from Costa Rica, they said that when the person died, this Ibogaine provider closed down. He's stopped doing any more medicines there. I guess because of the investigation to try to find out what actually happened to the lady, why she died. But he never opened up again, and instead of reopening, he joined business adventure with some other man, some either European or some type of American fellow, middle-aged man, and then made it into what they call a very high-end Ibogaine treatment center. So here he closes his business, opens up with a brand new name and image, and then now they can't perform there, and they're over in, this provider is now back in Africa. Now, the person on the phone that I'm talking to never mentioned that a woman died under his provision. I think that would have been very important, that he had to stop performing the treatment, and but all that was not disclosed to me. Okay, it might have been even two people, but at least one of the people I remember. I'm not sure it was two. It could have been two, or maybe it was just one. But either way, that's kind of recent. It happened less than a year ago, actually, and it was in the summer of last year, according to the news article, and they gave the name of the provider. That wasn't disclosed. Why would somebody, this man, like the man that he opened business with, was someone who utilized this man's medicine, plant medicine, and then decides to open up his own. They say what do you call it, an entrepreneur. But why would some entrepreneur want to do business with someone that had someone die under him? So that was a question. And is this new adventure, um, why just something tells me that he's not that person that he did business, partnership with. I don't think he's with him in Africa. The caller is just telling me that he's there and he's trying to build up something, but it doesn't sound like it's together. You know, everything is just out there. So where's this new business person with all this money? How is he able to, this new person that he partnered with, how is that person able to get this really high-end looking place there? And how come this businessman, you know, isn't in Africa with them, setting up some nice fancy place there? It'd be cheap to make there, to build stuff there. Things aren't expensive there. So I'm just a little confused. I mean, you can have a really nice business in West Africa. If you have money to build a nice place in Costa Rica with similar standard of living, you can also open up one in Gabon. So I don't know. I don't understand. The logic to me isn't there. Okay, and if he calls back, because he said that the person that called me said that he'll have to talk to the Iboga provider to find out if the price is negotiable and more particulars about like a syllabus, what's going to happen on what day, because it's a 14-day initiation into the tradition, the B3 tradition, that is their spiritual practice, and a woman's initiation, so it's not, because it wasn't provided. So he said he'll call up the guy and call me back. So I said, okay. So these are a lot of questions that I have, and I have more questions. It's just I have more questions than answers. And then another thing that I know it's not going to sound nice, but I say this because I guess I am a little frustrated or angry, but it's more, I say this really to provoke thinking, thinking on, who's listening. Now, it was also mentioned, I forget at what point, but I think it was on the website or something. And they said that, when you go down there to Africa, to Gabon, when you're there, you have to bring like little, like it's advisable to bring, oh yeah, I remember, it said like if you decide to go, some items that you should bring. It said, oh, you bring like treats, you can bring food for yourself, little, candies and stuff, but you have to make sure you bring enough for the children there. Now I'm thinking, wait a minute, you're paying somebody, you are a client, and you have to, you're the client, and you're paying $6,000, and you have to give stuff for children over there. This is a business. You're buying a service. You're buying a plant medicine to be administered safely to you. And they're acting more like, you're just there for some safari type of mentality that, oh, you got to give the poor little African children candy. I said, look, I mean, I don't mean to sound insensitive, but as a black American woman, my ancestry is from the Caribbean. But as a black woman, um, my ancestors were brought to the Americas because we're kidnapped and brought here. Now, the people that utilize these services in Gabon for the Iboga treatments are primarily Europeans, Canadians, and white Americans. With history um, being as it is, I wouldn't. If I had a child, I wouldn't want my child to take any candy from any stranger. You wouldn't want to have you have tour. I live in an area where you have a lot of tourists from all over the world. I wouldn't want them to give my child any candy or things. You don't know what's in it. Why is it that when it comes to so-called third world countries, why people seem to lose their common sense, and that any so-called Westerner that comes to their land, you have all these little children running to these Westerners and begging for, trying to get something from them, the tourists, whatever, whether it be candy or food, you know. Didn't they learn 500 years ago that that Trojan horse has something in it and is not for their benefit? Didn't they learn? Didn't did not the parents of these children teach them about their history, that some of their ancestors were kidnapped and brought to the Americas as slaves from these Westerners and never to return? I got irritated. And again, it's a business, $6,000. So you have this person had his business. I think he started in 2009 or 2000, between 2009 and 11. He started his business in Costa Rica. Now he's charging a lot of money, $6,000 for his operation. I mean, for his plant medicine. So all this time, and I assume that he's okay. This person goes back and forth to Costa Rica and Africa, and because he has to get his supplies and stuff like that. So all this time, he still has ties to his community in Africa. So isn't he using the money to build up the community over there where he's from? So if he's building up his community over there, why do the little children have to still beg for candy or food? Why doesn't he have this place set up there? Are we African people that kind of slow upstairs? Are we that stupid that we don't know how to do business? The business that he linked up with the Western man was a real swanky place. He had this celebrity Kardashian at his facility. I'm sorry, one of the Kardashians' significant other that was being treated there. Okay, so this is a place, that they had something going for themselves. So how come he's not using his smarts to do the same thing that he should be able to do over there in Gabon? It gets me wondering why we are losing common sense or know-how. After 500 years in dealing with a particular type of people, you don't learn how to do business so that you have it on the up and up, that you're in charge. He's not in charge of the place when he joined in ventured a business adventure in Costa Rica with the Westerner. He wasn't the CEO.
He wasn't even on top of the list of ownership. So again, it's like he has all the wisdom for his craft, but not business smarts. And now he's back in Africa, and the person was telling me that his place is made out like these wood planks, I think he said. Come on now. I don't know. Why isn't Africa, West Africa, having it together? They gotta get their act together. They have to. I don't. I know this sounds really negative of me, but I'm saying this to open up thinking. What is going on? Why can't they get the act together? Why can't they start real businesses? You know, you have a great product, and you have all these Westerners making money off of him. Some of the people that are making money off of him, he's the one that treated these people. They're making money. Some that look like they got a nice bit. If it's an authentic website, some of it looks very nice. So he doesn't have the smarts to do the same thing in his own country. And the other point that I was thinking of, okay, this Iboga is supposed to be for spiritual enlightenment as well. How come if the people themselves use it, because they get initiated, the little kids get, I think around the age of 10, they get initiated, into adulthood, some ceremony that the little children go into, and this thing's supposed to impart, wisdom and understanding. So how come they're not full of wisdom and understanding? Okay? They also have things like in the United States, Indian reservations. I saw a video just last week. It was about, I was doing some research about what they call it sage, white sage. It's an herb. You could use it in foods for cooking, but they also dry out this plant and they smoke it. It's used as incense, in your prayers, and it's for cleansing, to clean the energies in the air. And these indigenous Indians of the Americas use this, and it's supposed to, impart, for cleansing and these practices, but there's so much mental oppression on these indigenous people in North America. And I ask myself the same question. All this tradition and shamanic stuff being done in their own communities, but the people themselves are not enlightened, and that they're in bondage, and that they're dying like flies from alcoholism, poverty, things like that. Why is not the medicine or their spirituality, how come it's keeping them in bondage? How come they're not enlightened? I'm sorry to talk like this. I'm not here to try to badmouth anybody, put down. I'm saying this because I'm asking myself questions. How come Iboga is not helping the people that created it? How come this sage that's used in American Indian traditions, how come it's not helping them to be enlightened and empowered? I ask myself these questions because I want answers, because I want to be enlightened, and I want to go to someone who has the skill to help aid me through my spiritual journey of growth. And I said, why should I go to someone that can't help your own people? Okay, I want to go to someone who knows how to make it happen for somebody else and themselves. So these are just some of the thoughts that I have. Again, I do not wish to offend anybody who listens to this on YouTube. This is just to share with you because I want you to be enlightened with information so that you can do your own research, because again, I did not give the name of the individual or the establishment, but you can easily Google about Iboga provider deaths in Costa Rica, and you'll probably be able to, get the information that way, you know, and ask questions, you know. So that's all where I'm coming from. Just like if you had information and you knew I wanted to do a particular thing, you want to warn me. So that's all what this is about. It's not to poo-poo someone else's parade or business or to slander. It's to just keep you in the know. And again, I'm sharing my spirit journey. And that's all what it's all about. So again, I thank you for listening. And again, if you have any, if you have any comments, please feel free to write it below, and also feel free to subscribe and to share. Peace and joy to you all. Bye bye.